Now, vacancy rates are measured, and there are different data houses that come out with vacancy rates. But in essence, it's how many properties are available for rent compared to the pool of properties that are, vacant at a time compared to the pool of properties that are available for rent in a certain area. And sometimes the data houses will group suburbs together. Sometimes they'll do it by postcode. There's a few different methodologies as how they come up with a vacancy rate. In Queensland, the REIQ gathers information from individual property management companies. So every quarter, I think it is, we're asked to submit our statistics on how many properties you've got vacant, how many have you got on your rent roll. So it's not an exact science. It's an indicative kind of way of saying how many properties are vacant versus how many are available at any, if they're all available at one point in time. I think an easier way, it's a good indicator, it's a good lead indicator, but when you get down to actually starting to choose between suburbs, the best thing to do is to jump on the portals and have a look at how many of a similar type property are available. And this is what we do when we look at rentability. Which is one of the 7, we have 36 investment fundamentals in 7 categories, and one of them is rentability and also supply. So supply is the number of, if you've got a 3-bedroom, 1 bathroom with a single garage house on a piece of land and it's in fair condition, then you want to have a look at how many others are available for rent at that point in time. Now, there have been times where, let's pick a suburb, Stafford, which is an affordable sort of suburb compared to others. There are times where there might be 30, 35 properties that are very similar available for rent at one time. That's a high vacancy rate compared to the number of properties that are available or exist in that suburb. But there are other times where you might have a look and there's only 10. So that's actually quite low. So you can have a little bit of a look by doing your own research at what availability there is of similar properties. And you might find if you're looking at a 4-bedroom or a 5-bedroom home that there aren't many of those. And it could be a good property, but then you want to compare that to the demographics and say, well, are there enough larger families that would be in that suburb that would want to rent at that kind of level, and how far above the average would it be to ask people to pay, if the average is $300 a week for a 3-bedroom house and you've got an $800 a week property, you're going to attract people to that suburb that might otherwise want a more prestige suburb and compromise and have a smaller house. There's lots of little intricacies in there, but at a macro level, vacancy rates are a really good indicator as to how popular it is for renters, but also how much supply there is.
And Megan's right that every state has a different way of tallying it. There's this, we've included in that download with free data sources, a source for vacancy rates. But certainly if you look at state by state, and because the methodology might differ slightly, therefore you can't sort of compare, Brisbane suburb vacancy rate, say, to a Sydney suburb vacancy rate, because it's actually calculated differently. But you certainly can compare Sydney suburbs with each other and Brisbane suburbs with each other, for instance. So it's important to understand, I guess, where the information comes from.